Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and welcome to another video. And today we're going to start my bookshelf reorganization because I have a ton of new books and I need to find room for them on the bookshelves. You can see a lot of them laying on the floor behind me right now and they need to be off the floor and on the bookshelves. Lately I've just really been itching to reorganize my bookshelves because I do like the way that it is set up right now. On this side I mostly have all of my romance books and on this side I mostly have all my fantasies and romanticies, thrillers, and kind of like horror and stuff like that. And I've been kind of wanting to maybe change things up a little bit. I have been wanting to see what it looks like if I pull out all of my TBR books, like books that I haven't read, and maybe keep them separately. So one option is to maybe potentially put my TBR on one side and all the books that I have read on the other side instead of having them all like mixed together. And that would kind of like help me see what I have and like help me choose TBRs easier. But I'm not 100% sure that I'm gonna like how that looks because right now I have all the series together and they're by author and by genre and everything, which I do really like the look of it aesthetically speaking, but I do kind of want to try and see what it would look like if I do separate out my TBR or maybe try something different. So I don't know where we're going to end up in this video. I'm sure this is going to take several days for me to complete, but I do know that I want to try maybe a few different options and see like if I like any of them. Otherwise we're just going to go back to like what it is right now and then just put everything back and just make room for the new books. But at least I'm going to try and see if I could find maybe like a different arrangement that I might like or another kind of like setup that might work for me. So I think first I'm going to start with taking everything down, arranging things by series, separating out my TBR, and like maybe go from there. So I hope you enjoy watching the process and let's get into the video. So the direction that I decided to go in is to still keep the romance and the fantasy genres separate on opposite sides of the room like I had before, because the color scheme just kind of works a little bit better, and I like how like the fantasy books look together physically and how like the romance books look together physically. But I did decide to separate out the books that I read from the books that I did not read yet, so my physical TBR from my read books, and I started stacking the books that I read on the top shelves of every bookshelf, and then the bottom shelves of every bookshelf are going to be my physical TBR. So that's kind of what I started doing here. I started stacking all the books that I read on the fantasy side here at the top, like starting at the top, and then moving down, I started doing all my physical TBR kind of like over here. This section right here are all unread books that I've already stacked, and then I have a lot more on the floor that I'm going to start stacking here on these empty shelves. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now, and I thought this would be a good idea because I'm still keeping genres and authors together and everything, but I'm separating out everything that's unread so I can see it better, so I know what the next book in a series is, so it's kind of like easier to manage, and it just feels more organized in my head. That's the direction I decided to go in. I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but that's what we're going to try first and kind of like work with it for a few days and see if I like it. And if I don't end up liking it, then we'll try a different technique. Maybe at that point I'll decide to separate out the read from the unread on opposite sides of the library, but we're going to try this first, and I'm excited to try the new setup and see how it functions. So I'm going to continue organizing the physical TBR and then check in with you guys when I'm done with that. so I finished putting everything up. Let's go through the shelves so I can give you guys a little bit of a tour of the bookshelves, and then we'll do a final book count at the end. So this is what it's looking like. So the fantasy side is pretty filled in. There's still a few gaps, which gives me room to move things around from the unread to the read and to basically reconfigure it as I read more. And then the romance side and like the general fiction side is pretty full. So I don't really have very much room to kind of like move things around that much, but I do still have a free cubby right here where I did put my book counter in. So there are still like a few little gaps here and there, but it's really not all that many. And then I do still have a few books on my TBR cart that are not on the shelves that I'm currently reading. I'm going to configure these into the bookshelves once I'm done reading them, but for now they're going to stay here. So let's talk through what we have. On the romance side, I basically kept everything that is romance, dark romance, thriller, and general fiction here. This end unit right here is basically all the dark romances, read and unread, and all my unread books are the bottom 4 shelves. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything here is basically physical TBR, and everything up top is basically everything that I read. So of my read books, up top here I have most of the general fiction and kind of like thriller books that I've read, like Kristen Hanna and Anne Patchett, and some dark academia books. So I'm not going to go through them title by title because you guys can see, but I kind of started with those, and then it just kind of moves into regular romances that I read. So Annabelle Monaghan is up there, Alicia Thompson is up there, and then a few of the Christmas romances that I read this year. And then this part there is empty, so I can start stacking more of the books that I read over there. And moving on, this little cubby here has Jenny Han books, Lynn Painter, Mariana Zapata, and some random standalones. And then moving on over here, I have Hannah Bonham Young, Elle Kennedy, Hannah Grace, Lauren Asher, and Tessa Bailey. And then this book here at the end is the copy that my friend rebound for me. It's a copy of It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. It's very beautiful. Then over here, I have Christina Lauren, Abby Jimenez, and Tara DeWitt. And then moving down to the next row, I have Julie Soto, some Chloe Leese, and then a few other random ones. The 2 books that I read by Rachel Reed in the Game Changer series is over here, but all of this is going to get reconfigured once I read more books in that series. And then moving on over here, I just kind of chose like the brighter colored books to be over here because they kind of look nice together. So I have Megan Quinn, Ashley Poston, Elena Armas, Carlene Fortune, Maisie Eddings, Amy Leah, Sarah Adams, Lana Ferguson, and Cara Bastone over there, and then Jessica Peterson. And then moving on over here, we have Emily Henry. And then over here, we have Liz Tom Forty, Avery Keelan, Kristen Beccarici, Victoria Wilder, Lila Sage, and BK Borison. And then moving on over here, I have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings and all my Allie Hazelwood books. And I displayed the special edition ones of Love Hypothesis and Deep End. And then here we have Elsie Silver, which is the Chestnut Spring series, and I displayed Powerless because that was my favorite one in the series. And then for my dark romances that I did read, the top shelf has Alta Hensley, the one that's flipped out with the sprayed edges, that's Rena Kent, and then Saffron A. Kent, Steph Maka, R.K. Lilly, and E.L. James up there. And then down here we have some Runics, Jennifer Hartman, Navisa Allen, S.T. Abbey, Pam Godwin, Monty J, Tate James, Kate Crew, Sarah Kate, and J.T. Geisinger. So just kind of like random dark romances that I read. And then here I have C.R. Jane and Bryn Weaver. And I displayed the collector's edition of Butcher and Blackbird because it has pink metallic edges, which I think is very beautiful. Moving down to row number 4, we're starting with thrillers. So I have Colleen Hoover Verity, I have Stone Cold Fox, then I have the Inheritance Game series, the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, The Silent Patient, and Alice Feeney, Sometimes I Lie. And then that continues into general fiction and kind of like nonfiction self-help because I have the Let Them theory. I think that's my only kind of self-help book that I have on here. Then I have Wild Dark Shore, Deep Cuts, Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow, and then my Kristen Hanna and Frederick Bachman. And then I put my little book nook over here, and then a crystal and another one of those little lights. I don't think I mentioned these before, but I found these battery operated candles on Amazon because I thought that they would give really good kind of like aesthetic vibes in the evening when the lights are off, just kind of scattered around the bookshelves. It's too bright right now, but let me see if I can turn them on. They're just like battery operated. You turn them on with a little remote, and I kind of scattered them throughout the bookshelves just to give it more aesthetic vibes. So there's one there, there's one up there, There's one over here, and then I have another one down there. I think I want to get a few more if I could find space on the bookshelves, but I think they're super cute because they have like this light going through them, which I think is so pretty. And I think they're going to make the library look really nice when the lights are off. And now that the Christmas tree is gone, it's going to be a little bit more vibey in here. You can't really tell in the daytime as much because it's bright in here, but I think in the evening these are going to look really, really good. So moving on, and then I have a few of my other kind of like general fiction books over here. Taylor Jenkins Reid, Lenkali, Ellen Hildebrand. I have A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, A Little Life, and Sally Rooney. And then over here I put my Christina Lauren. I displayed the special edition of Love and Other Words, and then I have a Laura Pavlov and my last Elena Armas book that I still need to read. And then over here I have some older kind of like hardcover books that I've had for a long time. A few of these I've had for like very many years. I never actually got around to reading them. And I'm also not really inclined to read these either, but I do like how they look. Like I like the hardcovers and I like most of the spines of them. So I decided to keep them a little bit longer before unhauling them. But some of these will probably get unhauled eventually. And then moving on over here, I kind of pulled books that have darker spines, such as Fight by Sloane St. James. I have Ashley Jade over here. C.M. Stunnick, If You Don't Love Me, We Both Die. This is supposed to be a really, really good book. I have Kate Golden, Devney Perry, Victoria Wilder, more Jessica Peterson, Laura Nolan, Penny Reed, Kate Stewart, Kennedy Ryan, and a holiday book that I got that's more of a mystery. It's Murder at Holly House by Denzel Myrick. I got this one in December and I never got to it. And then over here I put my Catherine Cowles and Lucy Score and Candy Steiner books because they're all kind of like pastel pink and blue, and I thought that was cute. Then moving down here is my Elsie Silver. This little cubby stayed the same as it was before because I thought it was really cute. I like the colors and I like this plant with it, so this one I kept the same. Then over here, more random romances that I haven't read yet. My Elle Kennedy books, more Megan Quinn, Jessa Hastings. Lynn Painter is over here, Tara DeWitt, Krista and Becca Ricci, more BK Borison. I have the second book by Balcabra, After Collide, which is Spiral. And then these two that are flipped spines out are the Amy Dawes books that I just recently hauled. And I just like the stenciled edges on those, so I decided to display those. So that's this bookshelf. And then here are a few more random ones. I have Elizabeth O'Rourke, Amy Leah, Chloe Leese, Rosie Dannon, Alicia Thompson, Katie Catugno, Elle Casimano, K.A. Tucker, and the last one is by Rebecca Yaros. Same as above, more random romances. I have Alexa Martin, Allie Brady, Mia Sheridan, Jen McKinley, Elisa Sussman, Kate Spencer, Kate Canterbury, Nina Kumar, Kate Goldbeck, my last Allie Hazelwood book that I haven't read, and Alana Ferguson book that I haven't read. Then down here I decided to put most of my sports romances that I haven't read. So I have Chelsea Curto, Liz Tomforty, Avery Keelan, Stephanie Archer, Lauren Asher, Peyton Corinne, and Grace Riley, and a few other random ones scattered in between. And then down here I put the Boys of Tom and series by Chloe Walsh. And then on this side, these bottom three ones are my dark romance TBR. Before I get into that, I do have this little cubby right here that has my book counter for the year. He does have the Surreal on him, and I do think this would look better on the fantasy shelf, but I don't really have space over there right now, so I'm going to leave him here for now. But this is kind of an empty shelf that will get reconfigured once I get more books. So for the first shelf of the dark romance TBR, we have Monty J, Anna Huang, Penelope Douglas, and Lauren Beale. Then over here I have Brynn Weaver. This is the first one in the Seasons of Carnage tourist season, but I displayed the sprayed edges because I think they're cute. I also have Nafisa Allen, Jennifer Hartman, H.D. Carlton, and these also are the military ones by K.M. Morinova, Dark Forces series. And then I have Sierra Simone, Kate Posey, and Ali Oleander. And then the last one down here, I have more runics. I have Lee Rivers, Ariel Anderson, which is Under Your Scars, which is supposed to be a really good dark romance, One Killer Night, and then the second book, Sweet Venom by Rena Ken. So that is the romance section complete. Now let's move on to the fantasy side. On this side, I have the top three that are red. So this whole section, this one, and this one, these are all red. And then everything from here, 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 and here, and here is actually physical TBR. So I have 5 levels of physical TBR and 3 that are red. So I definitely need to make this more 50-50 and start reading more on the fantasy side because that is my plan for the year anyways. So starting at the top, I have my one horror book, Slewfoot by Brahm, and then Stephen King, which is more of a thriller. I'm not sure if it should be here or if it should be on the thriller side, but I included it here. And then I have The Poisoner, A Dowry of Blood, Long Live Evil, a few witchy books, and then my Twilight series and The Host by Stephanie Meyer. And then over here I have the Powerless series, the Belladonna series, the first book in Serpent and Dove, and then the Shatter Me series. Next I have Rebecca Ross, Isabel Allende, some Leigh Bardugo, and then the Cruel Prince series. And then I have all my Stephanie Garber books, Carrie Maniscalco, Fear the Flames, The Assistant to the Villain series, the first 2 books that I read, and then Autumn of the Grimoire by J.L. Vampa. And then over here I have Cressley Cole, the Legends and Lattes series, Scarlett St. Clair, Laura Thalassa, Kylie Smith, Opal Rain, and another Laura Thalassa. And then this last one with the really pretty gold sprayed edges is Spellcaster by Jamin Eve. Then over here I have Danielle L. Jensen, I have L.K. Stephen and Laura Stephen. This is Our Infinite Fates right there, but I displayed the gold because it's so pretty. And then this is A Curse Carved in Bone. Then I have 2 copies of Silver Elite. This one is the Book of the Month edition, and this is the one with the silver edges. Then I have Alchemized, and then I have Fourth Wing, and then I have Shield of Sparrows, and then A Night in the Moth, and then V.E. Schwab. And this is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is the illustrated edition. Then over here I have all my Sarah J. Maas books, and then I started stacking the Book of Azrael and the first book in Zodiac Academy that I read over here, but these will get reconfigured, I think. Okay, now for the physical TBR. These are all going to be books that I did not read yet, and we start with sci-fi books. So I have Olivia Blake over here. I have Red Rising, Pierce Brown. This is How You Lose the Time War, and then Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir right there. And then we move into fantasy, which I have Olivia Atwater, some just like random fantasies, some cozy fantasies over here. Eliza MacArthur, The Second Death of Locke, which I want to read really soon. Book 2 and Book 3 in My Roommate is a Vampire. I Got Abducted by Aliens, and now I'm trapped in a rom-com over here because this is a monster romance. Before I had this on the romance side, but I think it actually should go on the fantasy side. And then These Hallowed Vows. Then over here I have Katie Robert, Scarlett St. Clair, Laura Thalassa again, and Opal Rain and Cressley Cole. Then over here I have The Will of the Many by James Islington. This is my only epic fantasy book. And then I have the Lady of Darkness series, followed by the Legacy series, followed by Helen Schur's like Blood and Steel. I forget what this series is called, but that's over here. And then I have the first book in the Compelling Faith saga right here by Sophia St. Germain. Next over here I have the remaining books that I have not read from Throne of Glass, Rebecca Ross. This is a Book of the Month book that I got, I think in September or something like that. It's Violet Thistlethwaite is Not a Villain Anymore. And then I have Bridget Knightley, and then I have my Harry Potter series, which is in the Gryffindor House edition because I'm a Gryffindor. And this is my little 3D printed dragon, which I think is so cute. And then back here I also have this little 3D printed bookmark holder, which I think is so cute as well. I just recently picked this up at Flutter. Then over here we have the Zodiac Academy series, starting with book 3 because I'm currently reading book 2, and book 1 I've already finished. And then Neverkeep and Echo Fort. And then I have Riftborn, Duskbound, and The Ascended. Then over here I have the Faven Saga, Metal Slingers, and Sword Heart by T. King Fisher. And then The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. These 3 that are flipped backwards are the Hellbent series by Aurora Asher. So this is book 2, 3, and 4. And then the rest are my Leigh Bardugo books. Then over here I have my little lamp, and then my little dragon egg that I made. And then these are all the kind of like special edition books that I have that have like really pretty sprayed edges or stenciled edges or kind of like foiled edges. Like this is Brimstone right here. This is Arcana Academy. So like I really love it when they're like foiled edges or kind of like metallic edges. That's like my absolute favorite. So I decided to just flip these and kind of display them this way. And then moving on over here, I have Sarah Hawley, V.E. Schwab. I have that last novella in the Powerless series that I need to read. Books 2 and 3 in Serpent and Dove, The Spell Shop, Light Lark, Heartless Hunter, Rebel Witch, and Carissa Broadbent. Then down here I have Carrie Lake and Sarah A. Parker. And then I did a little display of some plants and a crystal, and then my Holly Renee books. And then the special edition of A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows by Holly Renee, which was gifted to me for Christmas one year. And then lastly, these are all kind of like the same size, so I put them here, but these are all paperback fantasies. I have C.M. Nacosta, Callie Hart, like the paperback edition of Quicksilver, the last book that came out in Assistant to the Villain, Direbound, Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. These are book 1 and book 2 of Kiss of the Basilisk. I put these sprayed edges out because I think they're cute. And then I have book 3 and 4 of Gods and Monsters, Fairytale, and then From Blood and Ash and Flesh and Fire series. So that's the bookshelf tour. That's the bookshelf organization. I'm gonna give this a try and kind of like see how I do with the way that it is organized right now with the TBR being separated. I hope I really like the way that it functions because I do really like the way that it looks right now. So I'm very happy with like the appearance of the bookshelves, but we'll see how I like the way that it functions as I live with it. So I did do a final count of all the books in the library, including everything that's on my TBR cart that I'm currently reading, and the final number is 690. So I have 690 books in the library, which is amazing. I love having a copy of all the books that I read, and I love having like an expansive large TBR to choose from. I've been collecting books for a while now, and I'm really happy with that number, but that's not quite the number that I want it to be at yet. So we're getting there. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you made it to this part in the video, please leave me a book stack emoji for all the book organization that we've been doing over the last couple of days. And let me know if you have any ideas on organization. Like if there's something else that I should try at some point. If you have like a different system and if it's working for you, let me know what that is so that maybe I can try to implement it into my library organization as well. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!